Welcome to PTE Updates. For more videos, subscribe our channel.
With the advent of science, many of the world's horrors have been put to rest. Diseases which used to wipe out large numbers of humans have been wiped out or at least kept in check. Feats thought to be impossible, such as air travel, space exploration, and computers just a few decades ago, have become so common today that no one is even surprised of them anymore. Every home is filled with all sorts of modern comforts like television, vacuum cleaner, and washing machine, which make our lives so pleasant and safe. Almost all aspects of our lives have been improved by some scientific breakthrough.
This world of ours is an old world and has gone through several trials and tribulations. In the known history of man, there have been many wars, most of which were fought with primitive weapons which can only kill comparatively few people at a time and cause no irrecoverable damage to the earth itself. From this century, things have been quite different. The First World War saw that war can indeed be at large scale and millions can die. The end of the World War II set war on a totally new footing. The discovery and merciless use of the atomic bomb on a country that was already losing the war, confirmed that man was prepared to go to any lengths to get what he wants.
Religion has always been in charge of social morals, and it is still common to see that many people live exactly as religion prescribes they should. But this is a tendency that is fast losing ground. Followers of religions are getting fewer and fewer. As education throughout the world is brought to more and more people, especially education with regards to science, people begin to question age-old beliefs. The proof of their senses become more important than adages and words of wisdom stated centuries earlier by ancestral wise men. Also, people began to realize that religion is mostly otherworldly. Since the otherworld is theory and the world of science is here for us to touch, see and live, reality often wins against idealism.
The greenhouse effect, by definition, is the process by which the atmosphere is assailed by an excess of carbon dioxide. What happens is that carbon dioxide released in large quantities by industry collects at the lower part of the Earth's upper atmosphere. Because of this, part of the heat that is reflected by the Earth is absorbed by this carbon dioxide and returned to Earth as heat. This shield, so to speak, lets the sunlight through to the Earth but prevents some of the heat from the Earth from escaping beyond it. It is believed that the Earth's climates will change with an increase in temperature by 5 to 9 degrees by about the year 2050. This heat will cause the release of poisonous gases on an unwary Earth and in addition melt the polar ice and glaciers throughout the world and cause flooding.
The most important reason why poverty exists in the world is mental attitude. In many so-called poor countries, the people are just too lazy to work. There are generations who have fed themselves by begging, and they do not see the reason to break out of a method that has fed them. In many Asian countries, there is a shortage of farm workers, but millions are begging in the cities. In relation to this, sometimes, it is culture that keeps people in certain mental attitude and keeps them poor. For example, in India, it has been estimated that there is enough wealth in the temples which, if distributed, can solve the poverty problem immediately. Yet this sacred wealth is untouched for centuries. It does not seem to be sensible for people to be begging outside a temple when all the riches in the world are just within the temple nearby.
The industrial age brought with it all sorts of wastes which the earth does not seem to be able to cope with. All sorts of synthetic materials, like plastics, were created. When these are returned to the earth, usually in overwhelming amounts, the balance of nature is upset. The earth seems to have difficulty in reducing these complicated forms of matter into basic elements and compounds. An accumulation of these materials, some of them as dangerous as nuclear waste, on the surface of the earth destroys certain aspects of nature for centuries or even forever. This is the harmful ways in which society deals with wastes. Real learning involves understanding, and for students to understand the information they are provided requires more than just interaction with other students. It requires teacher engagement. It requires tutors to moderate discussions and provide feedback on assessment. These are interactions that demand qualified staff and time for each student. There are not many areas where interactions and feedback of this kind can be automated, although there has been attempts to provide greater automation. The personalized path to learning is also subject to academic policies and professional accreditation requirements in many fields, all of which specify the types of academics, and in some cases the numbers of them, needed to ensure the student's understanding.
Since the dawn of time, humankind has delved into available resources to alter the environment, making it more livable and more comfortable day by day. Being able to use a spear-shaped rock to hunt, or using a cattle-driven chariot to transport goods were considered marvels, and greatly influenced the agricultural sector and ensured food security for man over time. It all started with the use of simple mechanical systems to assist farmers in transporting heavy loads, or in crushing cereal to make refined products and widen the variety of foods available for consumption. Over the years, we witnessed the development of railway tracks, making transport of agricultural goods faster, more efficient and cost-effective.
In Australia, fruits and vegetables are increasingly imported from overseas to fill gaps in local supply. At different times of the year, the local greengrocer could be stocking oranges from Egypt, kiwi fruit from Italy and garlic from China. Eating more fruits and vegetables is good for the environment, especially in terms of generally lower greenhouse gas emissions and water usage in comparison to meat production. However, there are other consequences. Imported foods are transported to the country by air, a mode of travel with a huge carbon footprint and thus ecological impact. So, in this sense, local produce is more sustainable than imported.
Thanks to social media, we live in an age that is simultaneously the best and worst environment for journalism that there has ever been. We have access to countless sources of news that spring up instantly after global phenomenon, political debate and sporting achievements. All it takes is a few swipes of a finger and you can have a general knowledge about any known topic in existence. We are better informed than ever, and yet we are also exposed to vindictive, biased journalism masquerading as truth. Journalism today is not typically based on objectivity, but rather is designed to catch and hold our attention and therefore sell its publication to us.
On an individual level, it is no secret that stress can make us more prone to both physical and psychological ailments such as headaches, neck pain, anxiety and depression. On a population level, the rising rates of stress-induced anxiety and depression among all ages is resulting in increased levels of suicide, with suicide becoming the leading cause of death for Australians from 15 to 44 years old. As such, the World Health Organization has dubbed stress the health epidemic of the 21st century. All of this underlies a widespread problem that will send tidal waves through the healthcare system for generations.
The use of satellites in communications is a great blessing. This breakthrough has given new meaning to the term telecommunication. The use of satellites has made video conferencing possible. Companies in one part of the world are in instant touch with their subsidiaries throughout the world. Communication via satellite has made the world smaller and brought the people closer together. Naturally, this has brought cultures together and appreciation of the beauty which lies within each culture. No doubt within the next century, the developments will be such as to create a world where there is greater closeness among people.
It stands to reason that when international aid is given, steps must be taken to ensure that the aid reaches the people for whom it is intended. The way to achieve this may not be simple. Often, it is the persons in authority who are corrupt. It is very difficult for a nation to give help directly to people in another nation. The United Nations organization or a similar international body could undertake the supervision of the distribution of aid. Here, however, rises the problem of costs. Also tied with this is time. When too much time is taken for the aid to reach the intended recipients, there may well be further disaster.
In a business world of constant change, managers must learn to adapt rapidly. In the past, business thinking was focused on addressing the organizational problems of an industrial era. However, the problems facing businesses nowadays are more complex. Leadership demands a deep understanding of the forces of change and the ability to navigate new territory. Managers must respond quickly as markets and organizations transform. Even when companies launch products and services in rapid succession, the next generation is ready to go. In this context, the risks of managers and executives being hesitant are significant. They must be able to think clearly, draw conclusions quickly, and act decisively.
The technology of flying has improved tremendously and it is certainly safer to fly now than a decade ago. The safety aspects of flying is almost a sub-industry by itself. Crew training lays a lot of emphasis on safety. For a few jobs in the world is selection more careful than for pilots. The course they undergo is comprehensive and it is much harder to become a pilot than a doctor. Maintenance crew too are highly trained professionals. Before a plane takes off, numerous thorough checks are carried out and everything is done to make sure that flying is safe. Even then, occasionally, a plane crashes or is hijacked.
The new Performing Arts Complex will boast a fully programmable acoustic system. A digital approach to sound, it provides the optimal acoustics for each musical genre, with speakers and microphones built seamlessly into the space, a process known as activated architecture, meaning the touch of a tablet screen will transform acoustic energy, enabling optimum sound quality whether it's a play, chamber concert or jazz ensemble. It is this element that has the director of the Academy of Performing Arts most excited. He believes that this will provide great opportunities for students doing either music or theater and performing arts courses.